There are just 3 cottages.
A, B, and C, only 3.
All right, we'll look at B next.
But why should I wish to lie to you? We have so few guests in the hotel this time of year. You searched every room in the hotel with your own eyes. Are you satisfied, senor?
No, I'm not satisfied.
You're not going to disturb Mrs. Garrett again.
I'm going to keep on disturbing everybody in this place until I find her.
But, Senor Wilson, perhaps tomorrow morning.
This is where I brought her.
A thousand pardons, senora. I tried to stop him.
Are you going to tell me what happened to her?
Is this sort of nonsense part of the regular service of the hotel?
Are you going to tell me where she is?
Please, Senor Wilson, believe me. There is no such young lady in the hotel.
Look, I've had this cottage for a week. No one else has been here tonight or any other time. I never saw your Delia or whatever her name is. I never saw her.
Well, I know someone who did.
Con permiso.
Boris, hello, tell him.
Senor?
Tell him who was here with me tonight. You just try to tell him she wasn't here tonight.
I do not understand. You had dinner on the veranda, yes. And the food and the wine were just so, yes. But you were alone, senor.
What?
You said it was for 2, and I served dinner for 2. But I only charged for 1. You were alone, senor. I only charged for 1, senor Maduro. I only charged for 1. You sent the check you did not see?
I suppose you don't remember the seat today.
Oh, but of course. It was left on the table.
And who was wearing it?
I cannot say. It was left on the table. It is all I know.
Tell the truth. Senor! Tell the truth.
Senor!
What have you done with that?
But, Senor Wilson,
If
please.
you've done anything to her, I'll kill you. I swear it. I'll kill you.
He went to see the United States consul. He made such a fuss that they investigated. They checked all the steamship companies, the freight lines. They checked every ship of every kind that was in these waters at that moment. With the scheduled and unscheduled airlines, the passport department in the States. But they found nothing. After all, they only knew her first name, Delia, and that she was supposed to live in St. Louis.
Is that the end of the story?
I only wish that it were. Well, after a few days, Wilson went to St. Louis and began searching for some trace of the girl. He checked all the jewelry manufacturers, all the designers, everything he and the detective agency had hired could think of. But no one had ever heard of such a girl. He tried to find out who made or sold bracelets like the one he had, but he didn't get anywhere. After months of searching, he came back here.
What for?
To wait for her, he said. He was sure she'd come back. That was 8 years ago. He gave up everything back in the States and just stayed on here week after week, month after month, waiting. And he began to drink. He hardly ever spoke to anyone. And every night he went back to the place where he had insisted 1,000 times he'd found her. I guess he described her to me 100 times. What she looked like, what she wore, what they said to each other, the whole thing. He didn't seem to ever think about anything else. And he kept drinking to try to blot out his thoughts. One evening, just about a week ago, after this had been going on for almost 8 years, I couldn't stand to see it happening any longer, and in my infinite wisdom, I decided to do something about it. I only meant to try to jolt him back to reality.
Ever consider what you're doing to live over that stuff? You know what you're trying to do, don't you? You're trying to kill yourself. In a nasty, messy, unattractive way, by degrees. Well, of course, you want to be the local screwball. Do you know, the natives even have a name for you? Senor Whiskey. Well, they don't mean it unpleasantly. They pity you, too. Senor Whiskey, the man that drinks all day and walks the woods all night looking for nothing. But if you want to kill yourself, at least do it in a nice, clean way and quickly. Oh, I know it takes a little courage, but I'm sure if you dig deep enough, you can find some. The next morning, the police found his body about 2 miles down the coast. The sailboat he'd been using had capsized about 2 miles out beyond the breakers. When they found him, this was clutched in his hand. The police listed it as accidental death. But what was he doing at 3 o'clock in the morning in a sailboat? I sent him out there. And then the next evening, as I was walking Wilson's route, as a sort of penance, thinking about what a fine specimen of humanity I am, that I can tell other people what to do with their lives.
Hello.
Delia?
Yes,
Is Delia
Delia Houston.
from St. Louis?
What does the hotel do? Give out a biography on each of its guests. Do you like it? I designed it. That's what I do. I design jewelry.
Well, that's fascinating. That's quite a story, Mr. Bentley. Now you'd like me to explain.
Can you?
Well, I can make a guess. You felt terribly guilty about causing Wilson's death.
Yeah.
But in the first place, the police called it accidental death. And whether or not you contributed to that accident is a responsibility that you'll certainly have to settle with yourself. But as applies to the other thing, apparently, your guilt, combined with the fact that you were so constantly exposed to Wilson's reliving his hallucination, caused you to visualize the same girl at the same time, at the same place, under the same conditions.
Is that your explanation?
Well, it's an explanation. There could be dozens of others. But to call it a psychic phenomenon...
Delia? I'd like you to meet someone. This is Delia Houston, Mr. John Newland. How do you do?
How do you do? Have you just arrived?
Yes, just this morning.
Perhaps I'll see you at dinner.
I'd look forward to that.
You'll be a welcome addition.
Thank you. When she was younger, about 8 years ago, she told me she kept having a dream over and over again, and that she was here. You can check everything I told you.
Yes, Hunter. A recurring dream about being here. Well, now, recurring dreams about romance are rather common to young girls, wouldn't you say? But if Delia did appear to Philip Wilson, and this would certainly seem to indicate that she did, students of psychic phenomena would call it teleportation. That's how they would explain it. The transportation of the being from one place to another, in time and in space. In this case, into the future as well. But why did it happen? Well, maybe Philip Wilson and Delia are meant to meet that way someday. And perhaps they will, sometime, somewhere. You know, there are millions of people who do believe that we live other lives before and after this one. In a moment, a word about next week.